Presented by Kamuk Ukulele Magazine, this is Ukulele Stories. Zoë Bestel, welcome to Ukulele Stories.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. So you're coming to us from what looks like a sunny Glasgow.
It wasn't about 10 seconds ago, and I've got the plane going over. But yeah, no, I was just in the garden and had to retreat to the greenhouse and got properly rained on, and now it's all cleared up again.
Oh,
That's
there you go.
Typical Scottish weather for you.
Scottish summer.
Indeed, yeah. It was hailstones yesterday.
Oh, wow.
That is unusual.
Yeah. We were just saying off air, my dad is actually a Glaswegian, and I don't remember it ever hailing when I've been there. So that is a bit strange.
Not in June.
Okay, maybe it's just the time I've been there. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I do know that you're actually born in Liverpool. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah, I was born and raised in Liverpool until I was 8. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I moved to southwest Scotland, and I've lived there ever since. So it's quite difficult to. When people ask me where am I from, I prefer to say I was born in Liverpool and raised in Galloway. I think that's the best way.
The best explanation. Not that you need an explanation, but you know.
I do like the tie to Liverpool. Actually, it's especially as a music city. It's really nice to have that.
Yeah.
But there's something quite magical about growing up in Galloway, so I would never want to deny it. Yeah,
for sure. Do you have any favourite bands from Liverpool? You know, maybe the main one, notwithstanding.
It's funny, actually. When I was growing up, I really couldn't care less about the Beatles. I think because it was everywhere. You just get inundated with it. And if you went anywhere else and said you're from Liverpool, they'd be like, "Oh, the Beatles." And I wasn't quite old enough to. Yeah, and you never. You couldn't get away from it, and I think I wasn't quite old enough to appreciate the songwriting or just the immenseness in terms of like musical history until I was older, and then I went back to it. But it turns out, actually, my dad was always a fan, so it's always been in the background of my life growing up, and obviously with all the influences of most British, if not worldwide, musicians. But yeah, no, it's nice to it's funny, I'm going off on a tangent about Paul McCartney now, but his most recent his new album, the Dungeon Boys, the boys from Dungeon Lane or something, it's really not that far away from where I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, both George Harrison and Paul McCartney's like houses when they grew up was literally the estate a couple of streets away from where I lived. So there is a direct connection, and I've been pushing it away, but yeah, I'll claim it now.
There's another strange connection here because in preparation for this, I was watching some of your YouTube stuff, and there was an old live stream you did, and it was your mum's birthday, which is the same as Paul McCartney's, which I know because it's the same as mine. She's June 18th. So,
yeah.
It all makes sense. It all comes together. Yeah, that's it. What about living in Scotland then? Do you have any favourite Scottish bands? Simple Minds is one of mine.
Oh, I do like Simple Minds. Actually, I don't know any more than Don't You Forget About Me. All the others, I wouldn't be able to name you. So many Scottish bands that I love, and a lot of them are my friends as well, which is nice. But I really got to appreciate trad music and just folk music in general. I don't think I would have been as interested in the history of music if it wasn't for having an interest in folk music, and that's all down to like being exposed to traditional Celtic music from a young age. But also, you can't get away from it. It's part of the culture. It's part of the fabric of society in Scotland. You really end up having a pride for it. I remember being in a different country, and I think I was on tour for a while, and I hadn't been home for a bit, and I didn't realise I was really missing it. And somebody played a really beautiful Celtic song, really lovely trad tune, and it really hit me in a different way. There's something quite warm about it. So I'm very lucky, and that's what's great about living in Glasgow. I don't know whether you know of Celtic Connections, but it's a yearly, it's a like almost a month-long festival throughout different venues in Glasgow, and it brings a lot of different folk music from around the world, but also showcases Scottish folk music. And it's a brilliant festival. Yeah, that's a good one if you ever find yourself in the UK or in Scotland. Come to Scotland for that in January. Yeah.
Wow, cool. Yeah, I mean, the Scottish tradition, I mean, my dad is a guitar player, and he kind of got me into music through, his connections with Scottish folk music. Yeah. And, it's still as strong in him as it ever was, and he hasn't lived there for 70 years.
Yeah.
60 years, at least 60 years.
Yeah, it really it instills something in you. Also, when I moved to, when my family moved to Scotland, I was 8, and the primary school, actually all primary schools that I know of, I've asked people about, had something called social dancing. It's country dancing, so you end up learning how to ceilidh, really. You learn all the moves. And I was listening to, there's a great radio station, Celtic Music Radio. It's an online radio, but it's also an FM for only the Glasgow area. I've recently gotten into listening to FM radio in a big way. I always have, but in a big way recently. And I tuned into something. It sounded like just two wee old guys, kind of like accordion and fiddle, just playing a tune. And I was immediately back in primary school, dancing about again. And it's just, there's something. Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah, you got some nice memories attached to all the type of thing.
Yeah. So, does your love of music then come from your parents? Are they musicians?
They're both music lovers, and they both sing. Actually, they both have very lovely singing voices. My mum used to have a folk band when she was a teenager, playing pubs and things, but didn't pursue it as a career in any way. It was more of a hobby. And my dad, all his friends growing up were involved in the music industry in some way. They're all like lighting engineers or lighting and sound, and he's always been around bands. Although he doesn't play himself, he's got a really lovely voice, so he's always singing. So I've just been, and they've both got very good taste. So I grew up listening to a lot of kind of Laurel Canyon songwriters, and some kind of old prog rock things. My mum's a big Joni Mitchell fan. Although again, I didn't have any inkling to listen to it because my mum listened to it. When I was growing up, I was like, yeah, right. It's like what? Yeah, I think I had a lot more respect, which is awful. I had a lot more respect for like my dad's music taste. I think because when he'd like pick me up from school, we'd like play The Who usually in the car. So it was with him that I had a lot of my musical inspiration. And then as I got older, I appreciated the songwriting a bit more rather than just the rocking out. And that's when you find Joni Mitchell. So yeah, I'm very lucky that they've instilled a real love of music first and foremost before even thinking about being a musician. And then they've just been very encouraging of me always, which has been so nice. I remember they said the first time that I wrote a song that they weren't expecting it to be any good. And they were both pleasantly surprised. Apparently, like I left it, I was like, I've written this song, can I sing it for you? And I played it. It was a little song called Be With Her. It's still like on an unlisted video on YouTube. I think I did record it at some point. And they've told me years later that I left the room and they both looked at each other and went, that was actually good. What? Usually when you've got like your kid come and says like, oh, can I show you something? Oh, well done. Oh wait, hang on. This is something she's good at. Yeah.
What was the song about?
Ever since. It was a made-up story about a kind of slightly unrequited relationship. I was like 13, 14. I think I was mostly inspired by books I was reading at the time. I think I was even younger than that actually. But yeah, no, it's I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I was going to say, what prompted that transition then from music listener to music player and writer?
Primary school, I was very lucky. I grew up in Scotland's national book town, so there was a lot of Wigtown, it's called. So there's a book festival every year, and a lot of different authors come and they talk about their books. And I was a really avid reader, so I loved writing stories, and so that was just something in the background all the time as I was growing up. And I think we had the school there was only 70 in the whole school. In my year there was only 9. It was a very small school.
Wow.
We had a woodwind teacher that came in about a year after I'd moved there, and she was kind of scouting for who would be good at playing either bassoon or oboe. It's very niche. But I remember she had us on the floor. We had to have a really thick book and make sure that we had like the diaphragm to be able to do this. I tell you, if I found my oboe reeds now, I wouldn't be able to blow them. They're so difficult. You know that the average lifespan of an oboe player, the average lifespan of the orchestra, the oboe players averagely die 7 years earlier than the rest of the orchestra.
Wow.
It's because of this immense pressure that
you need to blow the thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah. How mad's that? Anyway, so
crazy.
I realised that I liked playing music. She was also the recorder teacher, and we had like a recorder club, and I liked playing with other people. And I mean, I'd always sung. I'd always been a singer, but I'd singing other people's songs really. But I think that instilled my love of performing music, and then because I was good at it, I was encouraged to do it on a stage more. And there was like the Galloway Music Festival, you know, your regular things that you have to bolster young people to play and learn all the grades and things. But I really wasn't interested in all that. So my kind of love of music was still just tinkering about and learning tunes and things until some family friends started sending me unusual instruments at like birthday and Christmas. So I got an ocarina one birthday. I got a zither, and then they sent me a ukulele. And it was funny because I'd always been woodwind. I'd written one song on piano, but it wasn't that good, and it didn't feel like my instrument to be able to work things out with. And I'd never considered being a songwriter until I got this ukulele. And something clicked.
What is it about the ukulele that sort of spoke to you as a writer?
Yeah, what was it? I'm not quite sure. It just seemed to make sense to me. I think the piano was just that little bit too overwhelming and loud, and I didn't feel like I could. And it still felt very. It still felt like I was part, because I was learning it. I was getting lessons for it. I think the ukulele gave me the opportunity to learn for myself. So I remember watching YouTube videos. I can't remember his name. It was this older guy. He had a little hat. He was a American guy. Try and find his videos, but it was Train's Hey Soul Sister. That was like the year that had just come out.
Oh yeah.
So it must have been 2012. Or 2011 or something like that. And then I learned that and realised that, you know, bar chords straight off the bat, that's mad. But nobody told me I couldn't.
Yeah,
It was the first thing I did. I was like, oh, that's just a chord. And then it was from there really. And then actually I used those chords to write my first song. So that's a tip. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah, well, it's ukulele. I tell everyone, you know, you're allowed to do anything because it's ukulele. You can make it up.
Exactly. But
what was your first uke song about?
So as in the first one I wrote, with the B with
on the uke. Yeah.
I wrote so many. That was the first one. The first ever one on piano was something about flying. But I wrote that very young. It was just about being above the clouds. But yeah, all the songs that I wrote on the uke, my first like 5 or so songs were all some sort of love related thing. It was all relationship heavy, which is I
Well,
don't know.
that's
It might
still
just be
true
what
of
I was
most
reading.
music.
Yeah.
Certainly most popular music. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
Tapped
talking
into it
to.
immediately.
Yeah, do you know Lucienne Lemaire? Have you heard of her from California?
Haven't right.
Lucy
Songwriters.
LaForge. So yeah, I interviewed her, and we were talking about that. How it all used to be all gospel music. It used to be all religious-based music, and now almost every popular song is a love song in some way, or an anti-love song. One of the two. Yeah, interesting.
That's true. That's true. That is the. I love it every. Yeah, that's right. That's the I guess that's one of the things I love about music history, or using music to show history. I wish that had been something that was included more whenever I was learning history in school. It's something you could relate to it. Especially there's so many political movements that are defined by a music scene, or it obviously very influenced by it. So for all that you have the many love songs, usually you find that in the waves of times of great turmoil, because people, I feel like humans are looking for something else to focus on. So you have the two ends of those spectrums. You've got the people that just want to be really angry and talk about everything that's going on, and then the other side that's like, hang on, what do we really want?
Yeah.
And I think a good balance of those things is the best way to write a song, I
think. Yeah,
being aware.
Is that how you approach it? I mean, I know you've written a few kind of politically, well, not charged, you know what I mean? You've written about some political subjects and environmental subjects. So how do you approach songwriting?
It's a great question. I think it's whatever moves me enough that I feel I need to make art about it. I think you have to be able to draw from a well of inspiration somewhere. So, yeah, I also teach songwriting, you can't really teach songwriting. It's more that you're giving people the space and the opportunity to explore what they want to create or what they want to express. And then there's like a few techniques and a few things to hone stuff with, but it's really just giving people the opportunity and the time to, and the allowance, and saying you can sit and you can do this. So I try and do that for myself. If I'm feeling quite emotional, or like there's some sort of like frustration or like stagnation, I'll sit with my uke and I'll go, right, okay, what is it that I'm trying to convey? What do I feel I need to get out into the world? Outside of myself anyway. What needs to be external rather than all my over-analysis internally. But and then sometimes it will be, what do I feel I would like others to hear? That's not too often. It's mostly a kind of selfish practice. It's for myself. But I think with some of the political songs, that is me hoping to connect with people with the intention that whenever I play them live, that maybe they'd want to talk to me about what I've written about, or it might be something that they'd not so much that they'd not considered. I'm not thinking that I'm writing something that would be so mind-blowing that they'd have an epiphany about things, but I guess with all artists at some level, at some ego level, you do want to blow someone's mind, right? Yeah, but I mean that's not my intention when I write it. I'm not sitting down saying, right, okay, I'm going to change someone's mind, but I hope that I'm opening the door a little bit to allow for a discussion or a conversation that maybe they might not have thought about having that day, or that it's something that they hadn't really thought about or considered. Just the little hopefully like tease the curiosity in some way. What is she talking about?
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it.
I guess it's the only way that you can do it that isn't abrupt.
Well, if it's too overt as well, people kind of they smell it on you, like that it's not really authentic. You're just trying to stir the
True.
pot.
That's also true. Yeah. There's the authenticity of it, but I guess I do have an admiration for punk, and that's very in your face, purposefully.
True.
But I appreciate that already, and I guess there's an aggression to it that I'm fascinated by and think is wonderful in some ways, and in other ways, because I think it challenges something. But if it's done in a way that isn't authentic or genuine, and it's just for the sake of being aggressive or confrontational, and there isn't an end goal of there being some sort of discourse about it, I don't think it's as powerful. I don't think it works.
No.
And I don't think I can. I'm not. I'd love to be more punk, but I'm not. I'm really not. That's not my forte.
Maybe you're soft punk. Soft punk? Is that a thing?
I hope so. It is now. You've just coined it.
Blanket punk. Yeah.
Blanket. Yeah.
Well, you say you teach songwriting, and I know we've just been discussing how difficult it is to do that. But if someone was listening to this who are maybe on the cusp of writing a song or want to try, what's one thing you would tell them to do?
There was a few things that came into my mind, but there's something specifically that I really liked that I did with one of my lovely songwriting mentees. Another ukulele player, actually, in Marta Zahn. She's in Berlin, and I've been working with her for a few years now, and she's so lovely. I don't think she'd mind me talking about this, but one of the main things that I find with anybody that's trying to be creative when they haven't been is the little voice in your head that tells you that it's rubbish. And you got to get over that and just explore the fun of it. There's always you wouldn't tell a kid to not be creative just because it might be bad. You'd encourage them to just make mistakes anyway, and or it's not even mistakes. It's not that you can't really get it wrong. It's just that thing of worrying that it's not good. And I have been a perfectionist in my life, so I can appreciate that. And I know that I have taste about what I prefer or what doesn't sit right or what I think can be improved and can be better. But there's a point in which that's just as good as it needs to be. Or it's as it gets the point across. And when you start overworking it, artists will say this when you see painters and drawers and illustrators, there's times in which you can really overdo something and you rub it out again and you try again, and it ends up not being real. It ends up being that you're just capturing something. You've overworked it. So I guess what I did a little exercise with Martha, because she does have this little voice in her head that says, oh, it's not that good. And she'll come to me and say, oh, here's some lyrics that I've written. And I'll go, they're great. What do you mean? She's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm doing that thing again. Or I tell myself that it's not that great. And I said, right, okay, we're going to, instead of it being a voice in your head, or it is you that's saying it, you need to kind of humanize it in some way, or anthropomorphize it in some way. Make it a little monster. It's a little monster that you take out and you have to put away in something. You have to put it in a jar. And I called it the little purple monster. I was like, you got to go and say it's not now part of you. It's something that you're contesting, I guess. And you say, no, shush now. I'm trying to be creative, just to have that distance from it. It's something my mum's she's retired now, but she was a psychotherapist, so I had a lot of these kind of techniques as I was growing up. So I really those kind of thought processes I really do is her inspiration that has helped me to think that way. But I think that's the only way that you can do it. Otherwise you're going to constantly be in that headspace and never have the opportunity to move from it. That's not what creativity is about. It's having fun. It's playing. Even if the subject matter is serious, there's there's still some kind of puzzle to it that you just got to give yourself time for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. You play the baritone uke. Has it always been the baritone for you?
It hasn't actually. I started on soprano. I did on my last album on Transients. There was a lot of tenor, so I moved from soprano to tenor pretty quickly, and then I don't even know whether it was. I think it was on one of my regular visits to. It was a World of Ukes in Carlisle. So Matt Warnes' shop. He when it was still part of this other music store, and it was just the ukulele section of it. I would regularly go. I think that's when I discovered a baritone, and I realised that I definitely played like an 8-string uke at a festival at some point, and thought, hang on, there's like other things going on here. But I actually don't think there was anyone at any of these festivals that played baritone. My first one was a Clearwater roundback. It was like a spruce top, and I think it's like a fiberglass body, so it's a rounded fiberglass. It didn't have a pickup. I had to put a little bug on it. And it's actually still a really nice instrument. And the only other person I knew that played had a Clearwater was Ian from the Re-Entrance, the band.
Oh, yes.
Phil Dolman. Yeah. So it was him that saw me at a festival in the UK and said, I also play Clearwater baritone. And then it just kind of progressed from there. I had 2 Carlas for a while. I had some very nice acacia tenor and baritone, but now I play my cannellea.
Yeah, it's a lovely cannellea.
It's custom, so I'm very lucky.
Beautiful. Have you been to Hawaii?
All the inlay is sand from Kailua Beach. Yeah. So I was given this before going to Hawaii, and then got to visit Kailua Beach and be like, this is where my inlay is from.
Brilliant.
That was really lovely, and I went to the workshop as well. They showed me all the way that they book, match everything.
It's so cool.
Nice. I meant to actually meet. Yeah, it's so nice. I meant to meet Joe on the Big Island to see where they grew it, but that didn't work out. So I'll have to go back.
You'll have to go back. You can't just go to Hawaii once. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it's such a relaxing place, isn't it? And such beautiful people.
Oh, there's amazing. So much stuff that I didn't know was there, and now that I've been away from it for a few years, I'm like, I was so close. Yeah, there's also like friends that live there now. I'm like,
yeah.
So yeah, I'll be back one day.
One day you'll do well. You should go and play a festival, maybe. Speaking of festivals, have you done many uke fests?
I've done quite a lot, actually. Yeah. That's kind of what takes me all over the world, more so than any other. Because although I'm a folk musician and I played quite a few folk festivals, it's the ukulele festivals that get me jet setting.
What are some of the most memorable ones that you've played? I'm not saying best.
Karkila.
Memorable.
Memorable was definitely Karkila in.
Karkila. Oh yeah.
I don't know whether they're still going, but I loved. It made me fall in love with Finland. I really like it. It's very similar to Scotland, and that's probably why. But it was a really lovely festival, and I really enjoyed that one. I've been to the Berlin Ukulele Festival a few times. I really liked Prague. Prague was a good one.
I'd like to do that one. That's the one that happens in a brewery, doesn't it? The Prague one?
Yes.
Or at least it used to.
Yeah.
I want to get that one.
Stupidly warm. Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's a good one. It's great because it's just outside of Prague in a really lovely little town. little village actually. And yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I just like being in Prague in general. I played at Poznan in Poland last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing one because it's all free. That's like open to the public, and it's all like funded by, I think, the council. So it was quite amazing feat that they just take over this park. One of my favourites in the last few years has been Galway Ukulele Festival. And that's a small one, but it's Ireland and it's lovely. I also really enjoyed Belfast, and I'm playing it in Dublin this year. The Irish ukulele, yeah, the hoolie, yeah. So they're all fab.
There is one in Scotland, isn't there? I think.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's one that So there's one up in Findhorn. Haven't been there yet, but there was one just recently called Brave Uke, which was brilliant. And also Matt from World of Ukes does his like big house in the country, and there'll be a Scottish one next year. But,
great!
It's all little pockets of ones. Although I think my first like proper, other than the Grand Northern Ukulele Festival, which is just such a big explosion of characters, the Cheltenham one before its resurgence, when it was the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain. That was the first time that I felt like I met James Hill then at that one, and also quite a few Hawaiian players. I think it was Herb and his dad actually.
Oh wow! Otasan.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was quite. And there was a couple of other players from some like proper virtuoso players from Japan as well. It was for all that I really loved playing it enough all those years, and there were some amazing musicians. There was something about the caliber that year. I think I got a very good year at the Cheltenham one that I think inspired me most to realise that I can be a musician and happen to play the ukulele, whereas I think other festivals I played at, it's been like, oh, these are ukulele players.
Yeah.
There's a slight distinction between it. I don't know. It's like these are musicians that aren't defined by the instrument that they play, and that really inspired me. More so than
I agree.
And just chatting to them, and they're trained musicians, and they choose to play this instrument. It was so nice.
Did you ever see Benny Chong from Hawaii? He's a fellow baritone player, so you got to check him out.
This is awful.
He's well.
See, I thought I knew my ukulele player. But you really do.
Well, he's just one of the greatest jazz ukulele players ever. Absolutely amazing.
I bet I do. I bet you I do.
You probably do. You probably do. But yeah, Benny Chong is amazing. I actually brought him out here to Australia a couple of times to play at the Melbourne Ukulele Festival, and he's the only person to ever get like 2 standing ovations. An amazing player.
It sounds deserved.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Incredible. Well, let's get on to your music then. Like, was there a point where you sort of thought, okay, now I'm a professional musician?
when I registered as self-employed, probably.
Yeah, that'll do it. Tax form. Yeah.
Actually, I was 16 when I did that, so it was actually quite young that I decided to be a musician. However, it was like figuring out what subjects to take in high school, and I realised that I didn't really want to. I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do, but everybody's kind of like, what do you want to be? What's your career? What do you aspire to? It's something that you're constantly thinking about at that age, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm going to go and do this in uni, and I'm going to do whatever. And I guess I was so passionate about music at that point, and I'd been gigging for about a year, and I knew that I loved doing it, and I also knew that I could make money from it, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, wow.
But it was like, okay, this is something that I can scale. And also that the music industry isn't just going out and performing. There's so many other things, so many other elements within it. I can train a bit more to be a singer or a session musician. It's not, I don't have to be the main performer. So I had all this in the back of my mind, and I remember sitting my parents down and saying, I think I want to be a musician. And at that point, I decided that I didn't even want to go and study it, which is was a little bit mad. But there were a couple of courses that I really liked the look of. There was it's like commercial music courses and like songwriting courses and all these things. And I spoke to like on my travels because the Scottish music scene is so small, but I'd actually bumped into a couple of the lecturers. I'd performed with them, like supported them at things, and I'd met friends of theirs and a few other kind of old trad musicians, like proper touring trad musicians. And I spoke to them about it, said, is this worth me spending 4 years doing? Because the end goal of the courses I was looking at was like, you'll release an EP and we'll put on a gig, and that's like, and then you spend that time honing your craft. And at that point, I'd already done that.
Yeah.
And I'd already written a body of work for an album, and all I needed really was to fund recording and releasing it.
Did you know much theory at that point?
Absolutely none. I barely know any now.
Same.
I mean, I can read music, and I did do my oboe up to, I think I dropped out of doing my grade 4. So I think I've got grade 3 oboe. So I do have some, I can read sheet music, but if you asked me what notes I'm playing, I'd have to sit and figure it out. And to be honest, I'd love to actually sit and have a practice of that and like really learn it a bit more, but on my own terms, I guess. I wouldn't mind having a teacher and getting that in my head, because I think there was a time in which I decided that I didn't want to learn any more theory, and I got very became a stickler about it. I was like, no, don't want to know anything, I'm going to do my own thing. And now I'm like, I think that's not held me back, but I think I'd feel a bit more I think it's kind of like, I feel like I'm a painter without any training, and I'm just like throwing paint on a canvas and it just happens to work. Yeah. And I'm getting away with it with like a very yeah, pretty much. What was I saying? So yeah, no, I spoke to all these people, and they said this isn't, the best education, the best life education that you could have is just going out and gigging. Just gig as much as possible. Just make the connections that you would do with people. Get the experience of performing live. And it was something that my parents said, callback, that was what the Beatles did when they first started. Just anything and everything. Just get as much experience on a stage as possible. Everything that could go wrong will go wrong. And because you've gained this confidence, you'll be able to deal with it, and it'll just be part of the learning. And that's the best thing to hone. So yeah, I guess my skills that I've honed are definitely performing live and my songwriting as a craft.
It's a huge part of it, isn't it? Like confidence, it is kind of a muscle. When people say like, how I don't know how you can get up there and play a song on stage, you say, well, because I've done it before. And as you say, it's failed many times before, but it may not fail this time. So I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to keep doing it as much as you can. Yeah.
Exactly. I do realise when I'm out of practice, if I've not been performing regularly, like after COVID, the first gig I played, I had a proper breakdown before I went on stage. And for the first few gigs, I cried on stage. I was really like, I can't believe I'm like back in. I mean, there's like so many layers to that, but it was knowing that I'd not been perform, even though I'd done my live streams all the way through, but it was just me in a room.
Something different about live.
That you can see the whites of people's eyes, and it is intimidating.
Yeah. Smell the smells and feel the air conditioning. All that whole stuff. Yeah.
But also you can feel the energy of the people that you're performing to, and it's a lot different than just in front of a camera. You're getting the immediate response.
There's a human expectation there, isn't there?
Yeah.
That you're about to do something. Yeah. So what about now then? I hear you may be releasing some new music soon.
Oh yeah, some new music. New music on the 11th of July is my next single. And that will launch the pre-order for my third studio album, Reverence, which
Nice.
I've been trying to get out for a long time. So
okay.
It's really nice to set it free. I'm really looking forward to this next chapter because I've stagnated myself, really. I think that's the problem when it's only you. But yes,
you're right.
self-release.
Exactly. Okay. And so what can we expect from this album? Is it mainly solo uke, or are we talking other instruments, other players?
No, there's other instruments. Yeah, no, there's a couple of tracks that are completely solo uke, but I've got double bass on there. I've got piano. I have a few fiddles, cello, a little bit of guitar, some backing vocals, and percussion and drums.
Nice.
Not on all the songs, but a combination of all those things. I really love the sound of cello and double bass underneath a ukulele.
Yeah.
They really complement one another. Also because my register is quite high, it's this beautiful low end that I don't even think you really get with a guitar. There's just something quite. I think with string instruments in general, you can really make them sing, and there's a lot of feeling involved in it. So I've worked with some really beautiful Glaswegian musicians, mostly Glaswegian musicians. Which would be very nice. Actually, no, Simon, who the double bass player, is from Dumfries and Galloway, so that's really that's nice. You get a little bit of the rural flavour in there. Really, really beautiful band that I have. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I've ended up with on a couple of the tracks three friends in themselves that have a band, and they're jazz players. So there's Luke Cunningham, Gavin Lamont, and Simon Toner have a band called Sequoia, and they're jazz. They're jazzers. That's just a little element to this kind of folk style. Got a really lovely fiddle player in Rue Geddes who brings that kind of trad element to it. He goes way up, and there's a lot of there's a real Scottish lilt to it, and he plays. So I'm really lucky to have a very lovely group of people that have bolstered this music. I'm quite looking forward to letting people hear it.
Mm. Do you think you'll be getting out on the road with a band?
I'd love to have at least a trio. I think I'll probably. I'd like for the album launch to feature as many of the band as possible, which is a bit of a mad feat because I think there's actually in total like 10 musicians on stage at one point. So I might need to get people to double up.
Yeah.
Play two instruments at the same time, obviously. But I think I'd really love some sort of proper showcase and maybe even record it for like a live album version, because I recorded these songs a few years ago now, and I even feel like my own voice has changed in that time. Also the way in which I play these songs, I just sing them differently because they mean something different to me now. Some of these are very emotional and emotionally charged at the time, or I felt really distanced from them at that point, and now they've kind of come back around to being something that I appreciate and admire. So I perform them differently anyway. So it'd be nice to have something that showcases that. But yeah, I think I'd love to go out and tour with at least the double bass and the violin. I think that would be nice. But I'll take whatever I get. They've all got their own projects,
Now, how did you land on the title Reverence?
Great question. I wanted another one word album title. So I had Transients for the second album. And that's the kind of the beauty that happens and then dies and then comes back again. There's like the movement of that. I guess Reverence was an honouring to a time. And it's less biblical to me. It's a lot more about being in reverie for something. I guess that a lot of my time having I pedestal a lot of things. I pedestal people as well. getting deep now, but it's a problem I have sometimes. I really honor things to extremes. I don't know whether that's just being a creative in some way. When you find meaning in something, you want it to have this elevated existence. And I think on many levels, I've done it with people before, but I've done it with my own art. I've done it with other people's art. There's a real idea that there's an element of it being unattainable, and there's an element of just honoring something. And I think this is the reason I chose that, was to kind of honor that time. There was a point in which I didn't want to release the album at all. Even after I'd made it, I kind of went, just release it, but in just a get rid of it kind of way, and not honor it in any way. So I think giving it such a presence and saying, no, it has to be something that I'm grateful for, and it can be something. I think that felt important to me, and it seemed like a good word.
Yeah, well, that's
the last song. Thank you. The last song on the album is Utopia, which I've already released as a single. But I'm really looking forward to it being on vinyl. It was my song to the earth, I guess, or to sounds a bit hippie. It's my song that I feel would inspire people to maybe consider that the way that our societies work doesn't have to be the way that it always is. I think that's where I wanted it, the last song on the album specifically, and it feels like the next part of the journey, and this is that is an honouring of something. And then
that's perfect.
Yeah. I do feel like my next music will be more environmentally focused, or at least that's where I'm hoping it will be.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
It comes out of me.
Well, that sort of leads into my next question, actually. Creatively speaking, what keeps you going?
Ooh. I think if I didn't make music, something has to be wrong with me. It kind of has to happen. I have to let it out. It needs to leave me. I think it's been part of my kind of therapeutic practice for so long. You know, I've been writing songs for the best part of 15 years, you know. I think if I didn't do it, there's something not right. It's how I express myself. So on some level, I have to do it. Even if sometimes I don't want to, but yeah, no, there's definitely it comes out of me in one way or another. Definitely writing, anyway. It might not have to be a specific song or something that I sing, but I definitely do need to write to get all the thoughts out my head. Whether that's actually writing, or I've got a new typewriter here, so I'm like getting all these things out is good. Kind of getting something on paper, it feels like I'm letting something go. So yeah, that's just the way that I have to express myself in some ways. Otherwise, I'm stifled and I don't feel good if something feels wrong. But in terms of what I get inspired by to create is currently at the moment. I'm really loving. It's a project called Earth%. So it's where if nature is used within the recording process, or like you use a sample of something to do with nature, that through the royalties that is generated from making the music, a percentage of that goes to environmental charities. But I'm really liking this kind of, it seems to be this movement within the art scene specifically. There's a lot of an environmental shift. It's something that I've been interested in since COVID, actually. Being stuck inside, I kind of ended up thinking outward. And and a lot of this kind of nurturing the roots that you're in already, kind of this importance of nourishing something, nourishing the earth specifically is very important to me. So I'm I know it sounds a bit vague, but that's kind of where I feel inspired to write about next. I went on a really deep dive into, so I obviously grew up in Dumfries and Galloway. It's a very rural area. It's a farming community, surrounded by agriculture, and you see the good and the bad in all of that. It's something that you become quite aware of. And during lockdown, I had a real deep dive into regenerative agriculture and sustainability, and I'd stumbled upon, you might know Australia, permaculture, like Jeff Lawton and a bunch of a lot of like real like land stewardship that's an indigenous practice that we're so distanced from now. But I feel like it's becoming part of, I mean, maybe it's just my bubble, but it's definitely, I feel like it's becoming part of the zeitgeist and people are talking about it more. It's something that the way that our food systems are built don't benefit us nutritionally or the earth that it comes from or the animals, and everything is all interconnected in that way. So being aware of it and being able to showcase this through art, I feel, is how people come to some sort of understanding about it. That's what I meant by, like, you offer something and say, have you thought about it this way? It's kind of why I wrote Utopia. And I moved myself writing that, and it really felt like I needed to keep on whatever that was, and express it more, because I feel like there's something quite profound in that, rather than all this introspective stuff about love, because it's a type of love, really. It's caring for the home that you have,
the most important type.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, that's what's currently motivating me creatively, is writing more about that.
Brilliant. So you've got a new release coming out. What does a typical sort of work day look like for you then? It's always
Great
a good
question.
one. It's always a good one for creative people.
I wish
I hate to be asked that question.
I wish I had a better routine, but I tell you, it starts with coffee.
It
always starts with coffee. Thankfully not. Not usually not. I'd love to be able to give a good example, but every day seems to be different. I know that I spend far too much time online telling myself that it's research or something, trying to communicate with people. But I think the main thing about my everyday that is a consistency, other than the coffee, is chatting to people. Networking is what they'd say, but it's not. I think you have to nurture your creative community. You have to nurture the thing that's directly around you. A lot of my friends are creatives, and like hearing about their projects is so much more inspiring than like even in the process of it, or being able to watch it unfold. It feels like you're part of something. You're all kind of working towards some kind of shared goal, and I think that's the consistent thing that I've noticed in my life, whether it's that I'm chatting to people online or whether it's like bumping. I mean, I live in a very lovely area of Glasgow. There's a lot of other musicians in general, but also just creative people, and I don't go outside without bumping into someone. It feels like a town. It feels like it's a proper neighbourhood. Just I went this morning, I was like, I'm going to go and get a pastry from the shop, and I bumped into 3 people I knew. 1 artist, 1 drummer, and another artist as well, actually. Yeah. And that just in general, collaborating with people and spending time communicating and sharing ideas, I think, is a consistent thing that I do daily. In terms of what my workflow is like, that changes. Sometimes I'm doing sessions for people. Sometimes, actually today I need to write never done this before. I need to write the script for my songs for next week, because there'll be a sign language interpreter and they'd love to know what I'm going to say before the songs. So I need to sit down and figure out what it is that I would say to introduce. Also figure out my set list and then write that. So there's I wouldn't, if you told me I was going to do that last week, I wouldn't know. And then, so it's that's the freelance life, really, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's also a really great tip for people who want to become more creative, is actually just to hang out with more creative people, because
inspired.
They will inspire you to do things, and it's just
completely
great.
Yeah, and you'll get advice that you don't realise you needed. I think also when you chat to and ask questions. And there's no stupid question, really. If you meet somebody that tells you it's a stupid question, they're not your people. You'll find someone else and ask them instead. It's always important to cultivate. You need a support network of people that get you, or at least champion the art that you're making, and they are there because you'll find them. Just need to get it out in the world,
Well, best of luck for getting the new songs of Reverence out into the world.
Thank you.
And we've reached the all-important final question, which is, what does the ukulele mean to you?
What does the ukulele mean to me? I wouldn't have the life that I have without the influence of the ukulele. It really unlocked something that I didn't realise I needed in terms of my ability to access the art of songwriting. And I know that it's a little bit cliche to say that it's small, so it's easier to travel with, but it's
True.
also not. It's made me stand apart from other singer-songwriters that play the guitar. So that in a way, it's ended up being a niche and my unique selling point, if you want to get markety with it. But at some point, really, I realised that this is an instrument that I really wanted to champion, and that it gets a bad rep in the mainstream, really. I've had people say to me, I wasn't going to come and see you because in the bio it said you play a ukulele. But then I came along anyway and I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Maybe that's where my punk element comes in. I think that's where the punk is. It's punk for me to play ukulele.
Okay, well, then to finish off this interview, I'm gonna recommend one more thing to you, and that's
please do.
The punk rock ukulele documentary, "Rock That Uke."
Hell yeah! Right, rock that
uke. It's fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I will definitely watch that.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, no, and you've given me loads to go and research.
Okay.
I've got music
well,
to
maybe
listen to.
that's your job today then. That's legitimate, ukulele work. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, and good luck with the release, and I'll push it out to everyone I know as soon as you get it out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye. Cameron Murray here. Thanks very much for listening to another episode of Ukulele Stories. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and tell your friends. To take us out, here's Zoe with Dear Jury, a brand new song from her brand new album Reverence. Until next time, keep on smiling and keep on strumming.
Criticize my anxious mind. Realize the acting hides the weak and stifled. Thought I had high expectations. I don't want to hurt anything anymore. Takes time to trust, and it's been torn before. disappointment constricts the fear, failing to reinstate a true likeness, internalizing all that's not mine, owning faults but holding punishment. Not good enough and feigning innocence. What do I deserve? Oh, judge me. What do I deserve, dear Jude?